Hello, everybody. Thank you for downloading episode 30 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. People who are in the New York area, if you have not yet gotten your tickets to our October 11th show at 8 p.m. at Le Poisson Rouge as part of New York Super Week, you might want to do that because we are going to be joined by a very special guest, our Maximum Fun brother-at-arms, John Hodgman. So be sure to get your tickets. Go to NewYorkSuperWeek.com for more info, or you can go to our Facebook page, Facebook.com/We Got This Podcast. And there are details there as well, and a link for you to go pick up some tickets. The topic of today's episode was suggested by Heidi Arias and her sister Michelle via Twitter. So thank you, ladies, for this great topic. We had a really good time recording it. This is the second of our third in a series of Dragon Con-versations, recorded live in Mark Gagliardi's hotel room. This is episode 30 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, Best TV Theme Song.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's up? The music that you just heard seconds ago was wonderful, wasn't it?
It was. It's my favorite theme song.
It's my favorite theme song, too. Thanks for listening. We've settled this debate, but there are lots more debates.
No. We're not going to talk about podcast theme songs, specifically ours.
Oh.
We're going to determine the best TV theme song of all time.
Oh, well, then we should get a guest who knows theme songs.
Sure. How about the guy who wrote our theme song, Mike Phriman?
Hey, everybody! It's Mike Phirman!
Oh, hi. Hi, how's it going? How's it going,
He's
guys?
here.
How are you?
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks for being on the podcast all the time.
Hey, thank you again.
And it's, everybody loves that song.
Oh, good.
They disagree with us, but they all agree on you.
I kind of, it's good to hear, but I kind of wish they were divided. I wish people were like, I think you should have a more confident theme song. Every time somebody has mentioned anything on Twitter, I don't know if you've noticed, I always reply with something that is ambiguous. And I was like, I'm really glad you like it. I'm not so sure about it, but thanks. You know, like, that's probably the right way to look at it. Is it? You know, like,
There was somebody on Twitter recently, and I think I put it to your attention, you found it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wrote, I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning, and I just now figured out that the entire theme song is an argument about whether podcasts should have theme songs.
yeah.
They didn't notice when he said, podcast should have a theme song.
Yeah. They just thought it was one guy who's just like freaking out, just trying to, figure it out for himself. It could be. I guess it could be a debate inside one person's head. That's still a debate.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into best TV theme song.
Okay.
Which that just made this theme song for this is, sort of reminds me a little bit of one of my favorite TV theme songs, The Gary Shandling Show.
Oh, yeah. That's a
What a
great
great, I'm a fan of the meta theme song.
Yes.
Do we need to lay ground rules for this, or can we just
Well,
start
I
going?
kind of want to hear from Mike about what do you think makes a really good theme song since you've written them.
Right. Let's see. I would say for a classic, for a this deserves the Hall of Fame award theme song, it would be something that captures the tone of the show, has kind of the attitude and the spirit of the show, possibly stirs you up in the way that it wants you to be, that it wants you to feel, outlasts the show in a way I would think some that if, what was the one? I was talking to a friend, earlier about, Ken Plume, talking about, the Spider-Man cartoon theme song.
Sure.
Which is a great theme song, and I cannot think of 1 second from the actual cartoon. I can only think of the theme song and the shots in the theme song. So that feels like okay, well, you've achieved something there. You have pretty much surpassed, the actual show. Yeah, I guess, and memorable. I mean, I think something that's the worst ones we probably can't think of.
Right.
Because they're not memorable. Because they were wrong for the show. They were whatever it was. So I think it has to capture the tone of the show, possibly outlive, be the thing about the show that you loved probably most.
So for something like this, you were talking about ground rules.
Yep.
One song that came to mind for me that's an iconic song is from Friends. But that also feels like a song that was written for an album by the Rembrandts, and they just sort of
That's
licensed
the thing.
it, right?
Yeah, there's because you could say like Billy Joel, My Life, for Bosom Buddies. That's a great theme song.
Yeah.
But it's not really the theme song. And actually, you get into, I guess there's Star Wars TV shows now, but really Star Wars is a movie theme. So that disqualifies as you could say, but the Star Wars music now.
Do you think that there are instrumental theme songs that could make it onto our list?
Instrumental, like
Mission Impossible,
like they were
being one. Ones that don't have.
Oh wow!
Commonly known lyrics.
Don't have commonly known lyrics. Like
absolutely.
Suicide is Painless is an amazing TV theme song, but you don't ever hear the lyrics of that song on air.
You do in the movie, which is where it originally appeared. So it's off the table. Because
it's actually a song.
And also,
I think that's a great one though.
I think those should be disqualified. I think a song that was used as a theme song should be disqualified.
Which also disqualifies Star Trek: The Next Generation because that was originally used in Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah, that's right.
So Jerry Goldsmith wrote that?
I think so. Boy, I don't know.
Who knows?
I think it was Jerry Goldsmith because I remember my dad had a CD.
Yeah, because it's not James Horner. I was thinking James Horner was Star Trek 2.
Oh, Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Horner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is a great score.
Yeah, that one's... Oh, man. But anyway, that's not... It doesn't make it under
Star
TV.
Trek is another great TV theme song with no lyrics.
Right.
But
actually... but you know what?
What?
Oh.
Here's a little bit of... Get this. So that song is written for the show, right? Then Gene Roddenberry wrote lyrics to it. There are lyrics to it that he considered an integral part of the song, even though there is no intention of having lyrics on the show, so that he could collect half of the royalties. So that the guy who wrote it got 50% of the royalties, and he got the other 50% because lyrics exist for this song that they were not going to. And it's like, whatever, Star Trek.
Please cut me my cash.
Star Trek. Yeah.
I need cash to get a new car.
Yeah. I mean, those 4 hits cost money. He poured it all back into the company. So, so I guess I shouldn't be too, but there are lyrics to that.
So I guess all the great TV themes have lyrics, whether they are used or not. Suicide is Painless, Star Trek.
I think the song is called Angela. I always forget
who's the boss?
Exact title. Who's the boss?
You'll notice, by the way, all my references are going to be 80s and 90s, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Me too.
Sorry, kids.
70s, 80s, 90s are where a lot of, I think a lot of really great theme songs went. Although there's Bonanza, that's a great one.
Right. Oh, yeah.
The Honeymooners had more of like a score under it. I Love Lucy, which had lyrics and a non-lyrics version.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But a lot of the early, I don't remember the theme song to Your Show of Shows or anything like that.
I feel like all of those shows just had, their theme songs were probably just like what the Tonight Show theme song is. Like, it's just horns blaring for 30 seconds.
Which probably fit the tone of the show at the time.
Yeah.
But there's there was no hook.
It was just big, flashy show.
Not enough to,
And every show in that period was about a bunch of horns. It was the horn section that would walk around and solve crimes. That's how they drew the chalk outline on the bottom.
But that's funny because now I feel like part of my references are going to be 80s, 90s, and early 2000s or whatever, because that's when I watched the most TV and, was really into like, oh my God, Knight Rider means something,
Mm-hmm.
And now, but also, the theme song has been kind of phased out where they're just like, oh, we're not really going to do a theme song. We'll do like a 10-second, maybe 10-second sting or whatever. Like, did you know there's words to the Lost?
No. Would you tell us what the words are?
Lost. Didn't know if you know that. Yeah.
Gene Roddenberry wrote it, so he gets 50% of the money.
So would you say that since they have been phasing out, would you say there's a golden age of theme songs? I feel like the 60s had so many great where they would not only set give you the tone of the story, but they would
set you up.
They would set up the episode. So every episode was a standalone episode. Like you knew what Green Acres was about.
Right.
Because.
Or Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Or Gilligan's Island.
Exactly.
The
Addams Family. These were all, here's on a platter everything you're about to see.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, even instrumental, the Munsters theme is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
With that echoey like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a
Well, that's like
theme almost.
that's where you hear like that Batman. Those were all kind of like period. I mean, I guess everything is kind of a reflection of period because the producers are probably like, give us that sound. The one that's like the one Thelonious Monk.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the Thelonious Monk? Like what they based the Batman theme song, the Batman 60s. It sounds exactly like there's like this 10-minute Thelonious Monk jam, and it's basically Batman.
Whoa.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's crazy that like, that's.
So the royalties, Thelonious Monk is getting half of them, and Gene Roddenberry's getting the other
I'm
half.
sure. I'm sure they cut him out.
So there's an Easter egg in Straight No Chaser that's just the Batman theme. He was playing, you actually heard him go, Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just assuming that's what he sounded like.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
When he spoke, it actually sounded like an upright bass. Yeah. Oh, is it Thelonious Monk or is it, there was also a bass player, Mingus. Maybe it's Charles Mingus.
Oh, okay.
It might be a Charles Mingus song. It could be, maybe I'm going to catch my own. You don't have to write to me now. I just caught it. I think it's Charles Mingus.
He's like, this next one's called Biff, Bam, Splat.
I was thinking it'd be great if, on that note of the shows that set you up, like Gilligan's Island, you could just jump in at any episode and you're immediately caught up. That because those shows all have, they reset at the end of the episode, we're back to like, and everything's normal again.
Yeah.
If shows now, like, Better Call Saul or, like one that has an arc, if it catches you up on everything that's happened up till then. So every theme song has like one more line that has like, so you can watch the last episode. It will catch you up on the entire series.
The last episode, it's going to be the 12 Days of Christmas of theme songs.
That's right. Oh my God. It's like, it'd be like principal and interest. Like in the beginning, you just have mostly show and like one little like, oh, he's a guy who's a bad lawyer. And then like, and by the last one, it's almost all, it's like 40 minutes of theme song. And then like, just 1 minute of actual show.
He hit a rough patch when he was 45. His wife moved out for a while.
Yeah.
His kids don't love him and he lost his dog. But now everything's okay.
Dang. Yeah. And
That's my
starts.
dentist.
Yeah.
You mentioned before shows outliving or
The
theme songs
yeah.
outliving their shows.
Yeah.
And those that I think of that like I don't know, I couldn't tell you what happened on an episode of Mr. Ed.
Right.
But I mean,
Or
I think it
Addams
was
Family.
Probably a terrible show.
I can tell you at least two things that happen in almost every episode, which is a horse opened a door and a horse picked up a phone with his mouth.
By the way, I am such a, if there's a shot of a little paw or a horse hand or whatever, horse leg, anything picking up a phone or hitting a remote or something like that is my favorite show. I want a supercut of every time a dog paw reaches over and like, hangs up on somebody and you're like,
It's
what?
always a stick. It's
Yeah.
like the faker looking the paw is the better, right?
It's almost like the Triumph hand, like the little thing, but that almost gets too obvious. I still want them to kind of concede that like this little cat paw flushed a toilet or something like that.
Or when like they're holding up the cat behind it and
Right.
the paw doesn't quite match.
Yeah, and the cat's looking off.
The cat doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's like keyboard cat. That almost goes into animal torture.
But those are real paws, right?
Yeah, 'cause
And not that he's playing it, but
The guy was behind the cat, I guess underneath the jacket, like basically smashing the cat's legs against the piano.
oh man. Well,
But it is
you
great.
do what it takes to become viral.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, let's start getting into specific songs.
Okay.
Let's see if
Okay.
we can narrow ourselves down a top 10.
Do you want to go by genre? Do we want to pull some out of like specific songs within a genre, like kids shows, comedies, dramas? And dramas would include, how about kids shows, comedies, dramas, action? We'll pull songs out of each.
Sure. Although there is one category which I have to include because I think my favorite one, I've been thinking about this for
Okay.
a couple minutes before when I knew we were going to talk about game shows.
Oh yeah, game shows.
yeah.
The game
of
show's
course.
theme is a huge.
All right.
Most of the time, they're probably like the old just horns blaring and everybody's like, ah! But there are a few that are so good.
Is that the new show, Mental Hospital Break?
All right, well, let's start with game shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watch it every day. I don't know if it has lyrics. I assume if it does, then they are What's the question to this answer?
Right.
Jeopardy has
Absolutely.
Jeopardy has a theme song that also serves a function. It's like musical.
Yeah.
Jeopardy has a musical chairs element.
Right.
Exactly
As soon as the
60
theme song
seconds
is
or so?
over, you're done writing your response.
Right.
So
Wow,
then
yeah.
it functions as part of the game.
Which is also, by the way, I'm again going to date myself, but Airwolf, if you remember Airwolf,
Sure.
that also had you have until the music goes dun 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 to shoot down that helicopter. And if you don't do it by then, he's going to blow you up. Because every time you can walk out of the room, and if you hear the music go dun dun dun, you run back in the room and watch him blow up the enemy, and that's it. I also love Jeopardy because Jeopardy does something that I like a lot, which is that's kind of the I'm a Little Teapot, but made into a, cool sounding, gentle, whatever. I did the theme song for, there's a series, that is a spoof of the Housewives of ... called the Hot Wives of Orlando and then the Hot Wives of Las Vegas. And,
Available on Hulu.
By the way, we
Hulu
didn't give you a CV moment at the top of the episode. Mike Phriman writes TV theme songs as part of the myriad things that you do. So you do have come to this with some expertise.
A little,
I just wanted to throw that in since
tiny.
we didn't ever establish that.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So in doing the Hot Wives themes, the first one anyway, I was like, I was trying to think, man, what could be, I want to do, something that sounds Housewivesy, because those are all so big cymbal swells and everything's like, yeah, all right, tons of plucked, it's all pizzicato strings and, splash cymbals and stuff like that. But at the same time, that stuff drives me crazy, so I want to mock it, and I don't know quite how to do it, but I can't because it still has to be, we still want to set this up as a legit, it still seems to sound like, legitimate and, have credibility. So, if you notice, anybody who's listened to the, Hot Wives themes, I was trying to think of what could make, how can I spoof that style? And what I did was I took, Where is Thumpkin is the melody. And, This Old Man, and those, if you listen, it's actually playing Where is Thumpkin, but it's in such a ding, 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 ding. You're so just trying to show how, it just to me, that makes that so ridiculous that I'm cool. And you're where is Thumpkin? What are you And then the season 2 is, BINGO. So it's that same, Anyway, so in that way, I love taking it, sneaking a song
classic.
into another. I like genre mashups.
But I think for me, the best TV theme, so I love The Price is Right.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think that is probably at the end of this episode, I'm going to say my favorite theme song of all time.
Which
pretty great.
You and Chris used to play a little bit of that in your act. That was.
I, a long time ago, figured out the bass line to it. And that's kind of why I love it. The bass line is such a, there were a couple songs like Scooby-Doo, I think even Brady Bunch. It's at a time when Motown, was huge, and everybody wants to sound like Motown kind of thing. So the bass lines were always such jams, these great little, grooving little jams. So yeah, so we learned how to, I actually have a recording that I made on a 4-track recorder, which is just me doing a little mouth kazoo, thing, and then playing the bass line of it over it.
You're going to hear it right now. What if we just sat here for 5 minutes?
Real time.
I don't know why
this
we
is live to
waited for
tape.
it to
Whether it was
play.
ever going to be put in.
For a clean cut. Yeah.
But it's got that like, like,
Oh, yeah.
it's all over the place.
And that kind of satisfies it's the tone of the show because it's a big, it's a carnival. It's like a big crazy, but it's got a little bit of glamour to it and a little bit of like sparkle.
A little bit of funk.
Yeah, but it's a little corny because it's like merchandise and cash and prizes. So it really rides this fine line, but it's so listenable to me because it's such a like, musically, it really is like, it's interesting. It's not just like, oh, pretty basic starts, like the same 3 chords or whatever.
Yeah.
That to me, like really sets the tone of the show. And it's also, if you're listening to this, if you're hearing that theme song, you were homesick. So it's like,
Yes.
You didn't have to be at school. If you
Yeah.
heard the Price
That
is
meant
Right,
you're at
then-
home.
yeah, this is your, I'm not going to school music.
That's probably
So it
why
totally-
it makes me so
I
happy.
don't have to go to school today.
Which now I guess kids now would have like, if they hear The View, they're like, yeah! Although I don't know if The View has a theme song. I'd probably not. It probably has just
it goes like this. View.
Yeah. And it's just Whoopi Goldberg's face getting huge and then passing, and you go into her nostril.
And you can hear that like, coming towards you.
Do we have any more game show themes that we want to throw into the mix of this category?
I don't know if it measures up, and I think it's
See,
kind
Jeopardy
of
is, that's the
Jeopardy's
huge
pretty
second
great.
one. Yeah.
But going back into the 70s, sort of a cousin to the Price is Right theme for me is the Match Game theme, which also has that great like doom 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 doom
Oh.
wow doom doo doo doom, and then it speeds up.
But I don't remember anything. Oh, right. I couldn't remember.
It's a
that part.
lot of like.
Oh, yeah.
It would have that where they play
wah-wah
like the
pedal.
blocks where it's like,
Yeah. And then they always cut in a police chase. In like a 70s police car chase in the middle of it. I just realized, we could technically, the theme song to Police Squad is a TV show theme. And that's such a
then
good,
the movies got made.
oh,
That's true.
that is such a good, goofy, and also, it also is so serious. Like that's my tone of comedy is to like play it seriously, but have the thing you're doing be ridiculous, but like play it so, and that is a perfect, oh man, yeah.
car-
If you haven't
Another
heard,
great instrumental.
go watch. If you haven't seen the Police Squad theme song, you need to Google, listener. You need to go Google police after the show. Sorry, guys.
And if you're
Whatever you
driving
do,
and listening,
stop.
do not do that right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Officer, here's the thing. I needed to know what the theme song sounded like in Police Squad.
Oh wait, were you just listening to We Got This? I was too.
Can you believe what they said about Merida?
Yeah.
I do think, just to throw in one news theme, because it's the only one I know of. It's oh my gosh.
NBC Nightly News?
No, not even that.
That's a
It's-
great one. That's John Williams.
I think it's
Oh,
called,
right. Yeah.
like Let Us Into Your World. It was the Action News theme when I was a kid. And it's
Let us into your
it's
world.
It's
That's a little.
or like show us a part of your world, like part of
It
your
was
world,
like
something
local
like that.
action part of
Yeah,
your
but
world.
it was
That the
used.
Little
It was
Mermaid.
used all over the place. It's something
Oh,
similar.
Hal grew up underwater.
Yeah, I grew up. My father
Where
was
Ariel was the
Triton.
newscaster.
Yeah. Guys, do you want to see my bunker full of stuff from the surface world?
That's why it was so important when she gave up her voice. I mean, like she's giving up her career.
Yeah.
She can't.
It's very popular where I come from. Very popular. No, it was, it has this like dun 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 dun, and it's still.
I wish it
it's
was that.
very
I wish it was you
70s.
doing dun,
It's
dun,
just
dun.
me.
In 10 years, that'll be some actual news theme. Things will be so ironic that you doing dun, dun, dun will actually be the actual news.
How's the theme song guy? Da, 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 the news.
And then I'm going to make a shreds version of that with like real big horns and real drums. And I'll be like, you see him spoof that? And you're like, that's real music.
So, all right, I just wanted to mention that news theme.
It feels
To
like
have it in there.
let's make this the nonfiction section then.
Okay,
We'll throw
yeah.
game shows.
News.
And news, because I do want to
Right.
give a shout out to that.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, yeah.
That's the John Williams. That's the
Right.
NBC Nightly.
Yes.
Right. It's the Olympics of news.
And the Olympics theme also.
I know,
John
right?
Williams.
Yeah. They could swap those two, by the way. No one would notice. If they
That's
played
true.
the nightly news before the Olympics, you'd be like, all right.
I feel like Price is Right comes out of that genre.
Yeah.
And pretty much.
There
crushes
is
everybody.
one-
Kind of, Price is Right. I don't think anything can compete with Price is Right.
Yeah.
Musically.
I
Jeopardy
wanna-
I will root for just for the function of it in the game. I think that's an important
Yeah. And I love Wheel of Fortune, but it doesn't have this for some reason. It's good, but it just like, it feels like it's
not
like a
quite
good
there.
party. And then the Price is Right is the good party that all your like best friends are at.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're
the
like,
party next door.
Yeah.
You can hear.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing over there?
Yeah. But Wheel of Fortune's a good song. I do want to, there was a show called, what was that called? Joker's Wild.
Yeah.
And that's by the same guy. They're named Perry Kingsley, who were some of the original synthesizer music. You know, like they're Wendy Carlos, who did the Tron theme, and them were some of the first Moog users. And they did the music for
Is that how you pronounce
Disneyland.
that?
Moog.
I totally thought it was Moog.
One time I know, because it looks like Moog, and I saw it one time in parentheses they wrote Vogue, and that's always stuck in there. So it sounds like Vogue, Moog. And they did the Baroque Hoedown, which is the Disneyland Main Street Electrical Parade. That
Oh, that's great. I love that tune.
So that and this theme for I think Joker's Wild is that same kind of thing. So but I don't even quite remember, so it can't qualify as but it's a cool, weird little synthesizer-y jam by those guys who.
And while we're giving shout
Tic-Tac-Doe had something like that too, right?
Oh, Tic-Tac-Doe.
The Wink Martindale with the dragon that would pop up.
Find the dragon.
Right.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was going to say while we're giving shout outs to great, old era, Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, throwing down with the dating game thing song.
Oh, right. Oh, God.
But that's Spanish Fly. That was already on one of their albums, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
No?
No, I guess it was. I'm saying,
we're taking it out.
You just family feuded in our game show theme song round.
That's right.
I saw the red X when you made that sound.
Oh, that also is a great theme song, though. The old Family Feud, Barnyard style.
Oh, yeah.
The hoedown.
Yeah. By the way, it's not a theme song, but the music or I guess it's not even music, but the sound that plays when, press your luck,
Yes.
No whammies. Stop.
Yeah. Also, Price is Right, by the way, also has the complete iconic the saddest You Lose music, which even makes it better. Which is actually dun, 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 it's dun, 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 dun. It wants to be I want to play the You Win music, and it's the You Lose.
It's
music.
the party next door.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, it's it's got its own come down song. You're
the universal symbol of failure.
Yeah, is to play it's like when you do, who is that? There's a composer called Sonsen. He did a thing where in order to illustrate elephants being large and heavy, they play a little light, fun song really slowly with big strings and stuff like that, and it feels like weight. So in the same way that you want, if it was just boom, 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 and you'd be you lose, to try to play the what should be happy, sad, really just
it's a dagger.
I feel that now, because that's the fun music.
I was one that's too much away from getting the car.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to pull Prices Right out. That's
Price is Right wins from the game show round.
Yeah.
So let's go to comedy. How about that?
Yeah. Gary Shandling's a good call, especially personally, because
it's a great tune. Yeah. I mean, is it iconic? Is it?
I mean, it's a very, that show is a very specifically meta sense of humor. I mean, it does capture that. I don't know that it's tough because it's kind of not below the radar, but a little more niche than,
Cheers.
The Simpsons or something. Yeah, or Cheers or something like that.
Cheers was that's the song you knew every 11 and 12-year-old girl who was taking piano lessons. If there was a piano nearby, they'd sit down and you hear, dun, 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 dun. Right. That's the universal, I know how to play piano now, guys.
Right.
And it's such a great
and Fear Elise just goes right into it, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it makes you feel like it does the job of, it delivers on the premise of the song, which is it makes you feel recognized and familiar and comfortable.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a really good one.
So that to me feels like one to beat. Although I do like I would classify them as sort of yacht rocky themes.
Right.
Like the Family Ties theme.
Which I think is a song though, right? Family Ties might have been
Yes. I guess we've been together for a million years. Which is that's my favorite sitcom of all time. And I love that theme song.
Yeah. Which, by the way, was called For Elise. I just like the idea that would be that they'd take it. And it was written by Bach a long time ago.
And played by Linus during the Christmas special.
Yeah, exactly. Although, by the way, Peanuts.
Also
a great
also iconic.
Although
Linus
that's a
and Lucy.
TV special, are we counting that as
I guess not.
a TV theme?
Yeah. Let's say no, because it complicates things. But it's a good song.
Then in the instrumental vein, you have something like Night Court.
See,
great bass
absolutely.
Night Court didn't have a, remind me, will you just hum the tune of that real quick? Oh, it's
Also,
so good.
For a 14-year-old learning to play bass, the best is just this little. Anybody can pick up a bass and play an octave, boom, bam, and you're just like, yeah. Just even that alone, like, boom, bam, yeah, and then just boom, 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 boom. It's the like quickest way to feel funky of all time.
And a great use of the wood, like the wood blocks as like a countermeasure to that. Dun, 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 ding, ding.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Which is his gavel.
That's a good.
Yeah.
His gavel.
No,
I never.
Did
you just make that up?
On it. I am.
That's so
good.
Feels
Thinking
like
of
that's
that
what it
judge.
is. He's a night judge. Yeah.
That is. Oh my God. I love little things like that. Like now I won't be able to hear it without that, which is okay. Like there was one, by the way, there's somebody was saying that when they went over to John Williams' place to hear the original Superman theme, which is maybe if we were talking, movie theme songs is my possibly favorite theme song of all time, Superman.
Yeah, it's great.
But it was not ruined, but I have to consciously not think of it in this way when I hear it. Somebody was like, I guess maybe Steven Spielberg or something. No. He didn't do Superman. Richard Donner did Superman.
Donner
Yeah.
did Superman,
That he went over and was like listening to this, like, oh wow, and then all of a sudden, Superman, and I was like, oh my God, is that where it came from? And maybe it was like it totally. Now I still love it, but it was like I don't know. That feels a little like for the Housewives of Orlando, the one I just did. I did kind of go off like sometimes if I'm like kind of kicking around an idea of like, all right, so what could it be? It could be, like I'll just mess around musically, or if I'll write down just like keywords about it, and just for my own, just to get something moving, I'll like kind of sing those things like that. Mm-hmm. And so the beginning of this one does have this like, ding, ding, bam, ding, 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 ding. And in my head, what that comes from is Hot Wives, Las Vegas, bam. So if you hear that, that's actually what was in my head. And then I thought, I'm not going to do that, but that's what it is. So, but I love the gavel. If that's the act, that's so great. And by the way, Seinfeld, all that bass is him making popcorn. Did you know that? He's constantly making popcorn in every scene in another room. You never actually see it, but in Seinfeld's apartment, there's a full popcorn machine. Yeah.
I got to start my Mr. Popcorn. I have to start my Mr. Popcorn.
Yeah. Why is his popcorn actually phonated, though, is what's weird about it. It should be... It's like...
Hold on, I think it's broken.
It's powered by a bass. It's like Mad Max. There's a guy who has to play slap bass, and it generates heat.
I feel like those theme songs, though, like Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm also, those are, those really well because you love the show. They don't live up hard.
I don't know that it will survive. I mean, it'll survive.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it would be like, the memorable thing is
going
the cast
off of your criteria from earlier.
Right.
Yeah. Is this song more memorable than the show? That's not saying we have to only pick songs from bad shows.
That's right. You have to be able to forget.
Sorry, The Price is Right. The show was also awesome, so the song doesn't count.
But you're right. But I think that what we're saying is the theme should be a star of the show, almost at equal footing to the star.
If I think of The Price is Right, I think of the song.
Yeah,
if
whoever the host
Cheers,
is,
I think of the song.
Right. Right.
If I think of the Greatest American Hero, I think of the song.
Right.
We haven't gotten to dramas yet.
Right.
Although that might be in the comedy also. Here's another one. When you think of being successful and achieving success, do you think of the Jeffersons theme?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's one that's one that transcends the show. It was a great TV show.
Yeah.
But the best part is the theme song, right?
Right. Yeah.
And there's also, All in the Family is a really good one because you get acquainted with the stars. They actually have the stars sing the song.
Right.
Which there aren't many shows. You don't have
Family Guy does it.
Family Guy.
Oh, yeah, that's
But that's kind of a spoof on that, isn't it? Yeah.
But you don't have,
Jerry Orbach at the very beginning. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Jerry Orbach wasn't going like, do, do, da, 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 do, law and order. Do, 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 do. We're gonna hand this off to
And by the way, did you know the dun dun is a gavel? No, I'm kidding. Everything that has two beats is a gavel.
But what's his bench made of? Like hollow steel?
Yeah, that's right.
So while we're in comedies, are there any comedies that are going to beat
Simpsons? Does that
Simpsons
count?
is a great
Danny
because that's a
Elfman theme.
really good theme song.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really
and
fantastic.
it's perfect again, like so quirky. And it's also just a perfect mix of who they should have got to do that song.
And the thing I love about that too is there's so much variety.
Yeah.
Even like the little that comes in when one character just kind of slips through the openings. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's introducing the idea of there are a million characters. Which I think it does a great job of that.
Yeah. And it's very like, the scope of like the range of being so grand and so big. Like it's this whole world encapsulated in this one song, but it's also a super catchy little melody that feels like it fits this one little family in this whole. So being able to do that is like, it's a really, really good one.
Another one that sticks in my head all the time is The Facts of Life.
And I feel like that's even like it's a little subgenre where it's like inspirational, that and like, growing pains and ones that like pump you up at the beginning. You're gonna,
That's Family Ties.
That's Family Ties.
Growing Pains I always forget, but it's another, Alan Thicke wrote that. He wrote a bunch of TV.
Did he do his own theme song?
Including Different Strokes.
He did Different Strokes. Yeah, Different Strokes is one of those ones.
Different Strokes is a great theme.
Give Me a Break. Like all those ones are just like life was strangely overwhelming.
Which is sung by Nell Carter.
Right.
She sings
Give me
that
a
song.
break, I sure deserve it.
Guys,
Time I made it to the top.
have you seen the 1985 special that NBC did? It was their 65th anniversary, I think, and they had oh my gosh, Barbara Eden, Jeannie from My Dream of Jeannie. They had her come out and introduce. She was talking about the history of comedy. They had gone through all of their previous comedic stuff, and then she's like, NBC is proud of its family of comedies today, and it's Nell Carter, Charlotte Rae, Alfonso Ribeiro, Soleil Moonfry, and B. Arthur singing "We Are a Family" from Dreamgirls.
Oh my God!
So it starts with Nell Carter, and she's got a she's
Nell Carter.
She's Nell Carter, Tony Award winning. But when she sings, she goes, "We are a family, like a giant tree," and then B. Arthur comes in on the bridge. She comes in with a bag of groceries.
3 octaves
this
deeper.
weird, like, it's the idea of a house, but not a house. Like there are frames around. It's more than you. It is more than me. No matter what we are a family. It's on YouTube.
Capital
Go
H.
find it. It's incredible.
They're two very different kind of Broadway star.
Yeah. And they're all trying to outsing one another. And Alfonso Ribeiro goes flat.
Oh, there you go.
flat.
You know what? That's all right. By the way, speaking of somebody doing their theme song to their show, Fresh Prince.
Oh,
Fresh Prince is a solid theme song for that show.
Theme song.
And it tells the story of the show.
It tells the story. It captures the feel of it and his sense of humor. And
it really does.
And it's a fun, just kind of like you put it on. Nobody's gonna say, all right, next one. Like you listen to the end. Everybody's gonna.
I saw a T-shirt that I loved once. It said, "If she can't complete the lyric in West Philadelphia, she's too young for you, bro."
She's too young for you.
Everybody knows that. Anybody who watched that show knows the entire theme song. It sticks in your head.
If at any point you go, in West Philadelphia, born and all you have to do is get through that. And everyone will immediately start singing.
Yeah. I mean, I love that one because he's from Philadelphia, obviously.
And because he was born and raised.
And born and raised.
Both of those things.
I also spent time
I
on
was born and
playgrounds.
raised.
Yeah. And he did actually smell that guy later.
Yeah.
He became his regular cab.
The guy just showed up with his arm raised. You want another whiff, Will?
Oh, jeez.
Why did he sound like
He's
that?
Buffalo Bill.
I'd sniff me.
It puts the rapper in the backseat.
That is a pretty great one. Are there any others, like Different Strokes?
By the way, feel free to write us at We Got This. How do you
we got this podcast at gmail.com.
Are you guys deep enough into the show where you do that still, or is that like? I feel like episode 1 and 2 of podcasts always do like. So tell us, what do you think, and ask us more questions. Are you guys at the like? We have too many things to answer. We have too many replies. No matter what.
That's the most fun thing is when the episode airs to read the million.
Because there will be,
Oh yeah. It's
I keep a spreadsheet with every suggestion.
You are a
who
weirdo.
suggested it?
No, do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Of the
suggestions.
I thought you meant just every comment.
I keep every comment.
You guys forgot Mr. Rogers. You're like, all right, noted.
Oh,
I wrap it
which
around
is,
a lot.
I know, that actually.
Yeah. My goodness.
All right, hold on. We gotta, this is gonna be a 9-hour episode.
Yeah.
What's coming out of the comedy round? Price is Right made it out of
game shows and non-fiction.
And non-fiction.
Is anything beating Cheers in the comedy section?
Boy,
Cheers and Simpsons.
Fresh Prince is up
Fresh
there,
Prince,
though.
yeah.
Up there. I like the Jeffersons. Good Times also is really
By the way,
good.
Sanford and Son.
Oh,
That is a Quincy Jones
instrumental.
song. That is such a good song
He must
on its
love,
own.
as a bass player, playing that like breakdown.
All right, what's coming out then?
I think it's Cheers.
Do we just need one out of this round? Or are we going to be able?
Let's take one from each because
Let's take one from each. This is going to be a bajillion hours.
I'm gonna say I'm feeling Cheers or Simpsons for me. Even though I
love The Simpsons, but Cheers pulls me in more.
Yeah, so
The
Cheers.
Simpsons is great.
Yeah.
This is the process.
Kill your babies. This is what we have to do.
Here comes Cheers. So we've got Cheers and The Price is Right. Their
All right.
side.
We have.
I will say this: Cheers isn't as fun to me. Like it's not because I couldn't get into when I was a kid MASH or Taxi, even though these are really big comedy shows. It was much later and when I got into them because the tone of the music was so
do you feel like they may have been doing that on purpose,
to weed out the this isn't but it is a wacky show.
It is wacky, but it's not for kids.
Right.
Taxi and MASH were not kids, not shows that were for kids. And
More
MASH
adult.
was in a war and dealt with war, and it had these actors were epically good actors.
Yeah.
Acting well.
And so maybe Cheers is kind of it's more of a mature show, and when you're older it'd be
This is for grown-ups that like hugging.
So then are we going to flip
I'm going
the
to say
switch?
Simpsons. I'm going,
Let's flip the switch and say Simpsons then because everybody can enjoy it. And there are a lot of people who there are people who are young enough now that they may not be familiar with Cheers, which is really sad.
I thought you were going to say Simpsons. I was like, oh, it's still on.
The Simpsons has been on for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And everybody knows it. And it is all you have to hear is that, oh,
right.
And you know exactly what's going to happen
Lost.
All right, so let's pull the Simpsons out of comedy.
All right. Wow.
It's hard, man. That feels like, I feel so. Yeah, right.
So far.
Well, then let's go into kids.
Simpsons.
For me, the kids show, if you move to the kids genre, and I would.
By the way, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
I made a theme song for a show for Nickelodeon that my wife was a voice on, called The Mighty Bee. Mm-hmm. And I think I loved it. I loved the
Amy Poehler show?
Yeah. And, it came down to me and one or two other people. And, at the last, I thought I had to put lyrics to it. And I think I ruined it by putting lyrics. I put it somewhere. I think it's on my website or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just as a here, Nickelodeon kids song, whatever. Cause I'm still proud of it and I liked it as a song, but in putting lyrics to it, ruined it. And it feels like if Simpsons had lyrics to it, it's such a, a specific thing to have working lyrics.
Yeah.
And if it, just on its own as an instrumental, I feel like it's a good song and with lyrics.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
All right,
I didn't get the job. And I'm like, I should have left. I should have but it should have been that kind of thing where just the Simpsons, it could have just been Mighty Bee. And then that's it.
Yeah.
And I've had this whole she's in San Francisco, it's always foggy. And I was like, now I listen to it, I'm like, what did I do? It was the last day I decided that. And I was like, I ruined it.
Well, just before we leave comedy really quickly, I just want to say I love the Mr. Belvedere theme song.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even know any of the lyrics to it. To me, it always sounds like, who cares?
Yeah.
That's it.
All I remember
that
the word drop kick is in there somewhere, right?
I drop kick to China. No one cares.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to children's shows.
Are we including all animation in that? Like G.I. Joe and Transformers?
Oh, snap. Let's get Cheers and then we'll move Simpsons to children's show.
Oh, perfect.
Done.
Or animation.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So it comes out of animation. So let's just mention some great animated themes then. So we've got Cheers, The Simpsons in animation. SpongeBob SquarePants, great song.
Good song.
But it also feels very familiar, which is maybe what's good about it, is it sounds similar to songs you would hear as a child, but it's still
I feel like the
enough.
kids yelling kind of ruins the melody of it though.
Right.
Cause you got da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, rah, 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 rah.
But that also kind of
awesome.
It harkens back to original, old school
Howdy
kids.
Doody
Yeah,
style.
exactly.
Oh, yeah, because it's kids singing the Howdy Doody theme.
Yeah.
Which is another honorable mention.
Which is funny because I can't even think of the Howdy Doody.
It's Howdy Doody time.
It's Howdy Doody time. Did I mention what time it was?
It's howdy doody time.
Twice.
I mean, technically it's 4:41.
Yeah.
Even twice a day, a broken clock knows it's howdy doody time.
Yeah. Other animated, G.I. Joe and Transformers are two great.
Brilliant.
The Gummy Bears theme.
Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
DuckTales.
DuckTales.
Woo!
Yeah, that's fantastic.
The Smurfs. The original Smurfs is like a weird, like, it's so, and it feels kind of old folk world, kind of like it's got a big music sound. And I feel like in the music, in the show, did they use like classical music, right? Like just lifted from real classical.
Oh, I don't know. Smurfs
Or was that all composed for, cause it sounds pretty like big and like.
I just remember hearing a lot of flutes on that show. Maybe not. I could be wrong. There were flutes.
Oh yeah.
But this was, where was this made?
And it's whistled. Like,
this wasn't an American
No,
show. It was made in Belgium.
Belgium.
Is that where they made? That was Hanna-Barbera though. That's where it originally started.
And
there is the first thing
over.
was like Smurfs and the Magic Flute.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
that
part
might
of the.
Be why.
But I think it's Hanna-Barbera, right?
Oh, I didn't.
When it came here.
Maybe they. Yeah,
I thought they just changed the soundtrack. I didn't know that they actually.
Actually, if you listen to, you can find. I tried to show my 6-year-old. They're like, "Hey, you should see the Smurfs," and the only one they had on, like Netflix. By the way, there should be a website, and if you know of this, please. I love that. I just look at the microphone all of a sudden. Like, I imagine
He's pointing and looking at the microphone.
The audience is like inside the microphone, like it's the end of Men in Black. But okay, you guys, if there is a website that'll tell you who has what, because we have Netflix, we have cats. That's a shout out to the double clicks. But there's like Netflix, there's Amazon, there's Hulu,
Yahoo.
there's Yahoo, there's HBO, whatever. I don't know who has what. So if I was like, I'm going to show you the Smurfs. Do they have it? No. Okay, go to Stars or Encore. And no, they don't have it. Okay, is it on demand? AT&T? No, they don't have it. YouTube. Okay, so if there was, I wish there was a site that you go on and it goes, oh, right now, Mr. Rogers is on Netflix. There you go. And you're like, oh, great, thank you.
Yeah.
But anyway, trying to find
feel like
that.
YouTube is the one that you're like, I'll just go to YouTube. I can watch it in 360p.
Right. That's right, yeah.
Where it looks like it's being sent to me from Syria.
I was going to say space.
Other animation honorable mentions, as long as we're in Hanna-Barbera, Scooby-Doo, the Flintstones, and the Jetsons.
Yeah, right.
Are all fantastic.
Scooby-Doo also that like really funky bass, kind of like.
Also not technically animation, but big and colorful and for children. Shout out to the Sid and Marty Krofft shows. Because those had some pretty amazing.
I can't think of the themes. What were the
Bugaloo. The Bugaloo. I mean, they were before our time, but I got into them later on watching the HR Puffin stuff.
Yeah,
was another great one.
Yeah.
Banana Splits was not. I don't think it was Sid and Marty Krofft, but it did. One banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4, 5 banana, make a bunch, and so do many more. Like that.
Yeah.
That's a great
by the way.
song.
I would put the current Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme.
I don't know it.
I only know the 80s one.
Great.
Yeah.
No, it's a really like, it's not funny. It's just kind of like, got like, it's like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I'm not doing it justice, of course, because I'm one dude slapping his chest. But
That's
how
all
many
I am in
dudes
this
slapping my
world.
chest can I be, really? It's like 12 dudes slapping their chest. That's what's so great. I can't do it justice because I'm one dude slapping my chest. But it's, go Google Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, theme, current, and it's, the word current is probably not in, they didn't do that, but
Right.
Anyway, it's a really good one. I've also listened to it on repeat because I have a kid.
Sure.
But, it's a really, really good one.
I
Forget
wonder how
animation,
many
The Simpsons
gibberish
live.
syllables there are in this episode.
I feel like it's
Do a supercut of
Every time we mention it, it's like, this thing, do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Or you know what else I love is the do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah. And we're going to close this song out with my favorite Blues Brothers song.
Do that again.
All right. Those are the honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Any more
Spider-Man.
children? Oh,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's so good.
Which is
Batman,
The Batman animated series, that one is really good. But in children's shows, for me, it's a three horse race.
Okay.
It's Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and the Electric Company.
Oh, that's right. We're separating.
great theme
We're
song.
separating
Children's from animation.
All right. I'm going to eliminate the Electric Company because I watched that show all the time and I still don't remember. Like,
Right.
the theme
Are you kidding me?
I know. Hey, you you guys. And
We're gonna turn it on. We're gonna bring you the power. Nope. Forget it.
It's I love the show.
Forget the bioelectric company.
Its association with Bill Cosby ruins it for me.
Eliminated.
We were moving our faces closer and closer as that was happening.
Do you guys remember 3-2-1 Contact?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Also,
great theme song.
Is the feeling, is the moment when everything happens. Contact.
Yeah.
I was playing the chest on that one.
Nice. He's playing my chest, which is really weird. He reached
It
across.
felt good to me.
Yeah.
So I think,
I think Sesame Street.
Mr. Rogers.
Oh man.
Sesame Street is a great theme song, but I just keep wanting to go back to what you were saying, Mike, at the very beginning of, like the tone of it.
Yeah.
Yes, the tone of Sesame Street is, it's captured in that, but not as well as just the man, Fred Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
Is captured in that song. It is a pretty, as a song.
Yeah.
It's a pretty perfect song. And this is a man that no one has ever said anything bad about.
Oh,
that is universally beloved.
I let my kids watch Mr. Rogers like I let them eat fruits or vegetables. You could wake me up and ask for fruits and vegetables. I'd be like, sure, go have one.
Yeah.
I'll say you can't have gummies, you can't have whatever, but you can always have fruits and vegetables. And if they were like, I want to watch Mr. Rogers, I'd be like, let's put it on.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to sit in front of Mr. Rogers, I'm like, dude, he is, absolutely.
I agree. I think we got to pull Mr. Rogers out. I think
so.
I think he's the best one.
Yeah.
And
he might win the whole thing for me.
He also has a degree in musical composition from Rollins College.
Does he really?
He
was also a sniper.
He was a jazz pianist.
Like,
not true. Not true.
What?
A lot of people thought he was, but not.
I believed it.
Bob Ross, however, was a drill sergeant in the army, the Joy of Painting guy.
Yeah.
Ooh, looky there. And the reason why his voice is so low, when he was done, he worked at a base in Alaska, and he was like, I will never have a job where I'm never going to yell again. I don't want to do it anymore.
Wow.
So there's that. Let's pull out a drama, and then I think we're ready. So we've got Mr. Rogers, The Simpsons, Cheers, and The Price is Right. So those are our four. So drama includes action. It includes things like Law and Order, St. Elsewhere,
Knight
which
Rider.
is a great, Knight Rider is fantastic.
Ooh,
Miami
Vice.
Fantastic. It was Glenn Fry, right? Who wrote that?
Jan Hammer?
Jan Hammer, that's right. Glenn Fry
right.
just had, they had the Miami Vice album that came out.
Right.
On cassette. Well, we had the cassette.
That's cassette, yeah.
This is what you had to have. And I know The Heat Is On, I think was in that,
really?
was maybe on that album. There was
That's a
Glenn Fry
great
song in that.
A-Team. Which is when I was a kid,
I wanted storytelling ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, it's just narrated. It's not like lyrics, but
it like sets it up, and then that's almost like a curtain opening, kind of like in whatever, and then the curtain opens, and then
that one does such a great. The A-Team does such a great job of getting you excited.
Yeah.
For what's about to happen,
and it's like heroic, but it's also war. I mean, like I guess all the war movies you wouldn't have like we're being shot at, like bummer, like war. I guess. I mean, it'd be kind of hard to watch. But.
We don't count something like Dragnet, right? I mean, there is a song, but it's mostly like
Dragnet's 4 notes.
No, there's a whole thing. There's dun 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 dun.
The stories you are about to hear are drawn from police files.
I like that one.
Started in radio, not written for television.
Oh, there you go.
Mission Impossible
is really good.
Even if there weren't movies now, you would still know. Ding, 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 ding. You would, if you were going to do like, I'm going to pretend to do a bit where I sneak in. That would be your go-to. It's so iconic.
But let me throw 3 dramas at you.
Go for it.
And it sounds like the ones we had. What was the last one we were just
in Mission Impossible?
So Mission Impossible, the A-Team, Law and Order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knight Rider
Night.
Because that always to me is
Knight Rider over A-Team.
Although that's
over
also
A-Team.
very periody.
Well, maybe over Law and Order. Law and Order is good, but Hill Street Blues also.
Right. You know what? Law and Order, I love it, but I wonder if it's because that I love the show. So hearing that, if it was just on its own, I wonder if it's so iconic. And when you hear dun dun, like Law and Order starting. But if it's just on its own, I don't know if I would be like, wow,
And that show has something else in it that is an audio. There's better audio in that show with gong gong.
Right.
I would argue that that's more iconic than the theme song.
Right.
So, all right, we can pull that out.
Yeah.
A-Team, Knight Rider, Mission Impossible.
Clearly a man in our 30s or 40s.
I feel like Mission Impossible is the most iconic of all of them because it has that feel of a ticking clock that similar to Jeopardy. It's the Jeopardy theme song of dramas, and it builds tension.
And the high horns, dun, 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 dun. You're like, even when it's down on the dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
And it does build.
Oh yeah.
And it uses wood blocks. I mean gavels.
Yeah.
It makes efficient use of gavels. So we're gonna pull
You guys, I got
Mission Impossible
second chair
out?
gavel in the symphony.
We all agree? We're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here we go.
Mission
Mr.
Impossible.
Rogers versus Mission Impossible versus Cheers, The Simpsons, and The Price is Right.
Wow, that is a good 5.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'll tell you what. I'll let each of you guys pick one, and then I will side with one of you. Go ahead.
When did you become Justice Kennedy?
I just. Do you want to be the swing vote?
No, I don't want to be the
Mission Impossible, Mr. Rogers, Cheers,
Cheers,
Simpsons. And Price is Right.
Price is Right.
God, I thought I walked in here being like, "Oh, it's Price is Right." I knew what my favorite theme song is Price is Right, but man,
I'm ready to pitch mine while you think.
okay, go for it.
Go ahead.
I have to give it to Fred Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to give it to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's a beautiful song. It encapsulates what the show is all about. I mean, let's make the most of this beautiful day since we're together. We might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
I think I'm going with Price is Right. I think I still, even though I love those other ones, it's like this the one that because when you put it on, when you're singing that, I'm like,
so great.
that is such a great song, but I will be I'll be cranking into, I'll go up a notch when you put on Price is Right. I'll be like, hey! Like it just has energy and it just matches, you know, it just makes you feel like a winner. Like that's it. It just feels like, you know.
So then the
first of all,
question is,
goodbye, Cheers.
Goodbye, Cheers.
Yeah.
Great.
Cheers is great.
Mission Impossible.
Goodbye,
Mission Impossible
You
is so
were
good.
awesome.
We love you, Simpsons.
We love you, The Simpsons.
Of course.
Goodbye. All right. So the real question here is it better to be amped up or better to be made to feel calm and welcome?
Considering that they fit their shows perfectly. They
fit their
really,
shows perfectly.
yeah.
This is, look, whichever one I'm siding with right now, they're both great.
Yeah.
But for me, I want to feel like it's a good feeling to know I'm alive. Such a happy feeling knowing inside. I just think that is such a great iconic theme song. When I hear it's just impossible to beat. So I think it's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Are we all good with that?
I think we're good with that.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am totally comfortable with that.
All right.
Absolutely.
So go pound sand, other theme songs. It's Mr. Rogers' time now and forever. Thank you for listening to us settle another argument. Thanks, Mike, for being our guest.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to plug?
I have, occasional songs come out on my, you can follow me at PHIRM on Twitter, and, MikePhriman.com has music for you.
Yeah.
Which you can rate against other music and maybe I'll pound some sand. I don't know.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with Mike's back catalog of work, it's brilliant and great, and you should go by and listen to everything that he's done because it really is great. But if you have arguments you want us to settle, please get in touch with us and email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com or reach us on Facebook at facebook.com/wegotThisPodcast.
Or if you think you shouldn't write, tell us why. If you think maybe it's better, then maybe you shouldn't reach out.
That's right.
Tell us why.
Yeah.
As always, it's nice to have you in the room to do this part. We would like to thank our musicians, Mike Phirman for our amazing theme song and Jonathan Dinerstein for our score.
I was going to say thank you to Jonathan Dinerstein for the score.
Oh, it's great.
It's so good.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it's
and
so
it
good.
leads in so beautifully to the theme song.
Yeah.
And thank you to Ken Plume for mixing and mastering and processing all the audio for this recording and making it all sound even and nice. Also, we're on Twitter. We got this tweets. And we'll see you next time. For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin.
For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi. And don't worry, everyone. We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.
Welcome to Oh No, Ross and Carrie.
Ross,
Hi, Carrie.
what do you think is creepier?
Okay.
You jump into a swimming pool. All of a sudden, the water goes away, and instead of water, there is the bones of your dead ancestors.
Ew.
Or our show.
That's pretty tough because we visited a live exorcism.
We joined the Ordo Templi Orientis, where we had to worship a naked lady.
Oh, and we joined that Tony Alamo cult. They were scary.
Super creepy. We joined the Aetheri Society.
We tried penis enlargement, or at least I did.
Oh boy, I tried breast enlargement. We have basically done every creepy, weird, fringe thing except for thousands more, which we will get to if you listen to our show.
I'd still say the swimming pool with my ancestors' bones.
Well, then I don't even know if people should listen.
I guess they shouldn't.
But if you want to, we're at Maximum Fun, and the show's called Ono, Ross, and Carrie.
I'm Jesse Thorne.
I'm Jordan Morris.
The federal government has millions of dollars in programs and opportunities that you need to seize today.
You're a taxpayer, right? Well, then you've got it coming.
Thanks to Uncle Sam, you can get a pamphlet on grant programs for sinuous youngsters.
Arts and crafts from a simpler time.
Gingham, it's history and applications.
Pleasure your wife. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Swim dancing?
Super revenge.
Arnie Duncan teaches you to slam dunk.
For all of this and more, drop us a line. Jordan Jesse Go, 123 iTunes Street, or wherever you download podcasts.